Welcome to another episode, Middle Ground JLE, where we treat you like family, season 14. Another great guest. Still working on intro, but hey, you get to hear my voice, so enjoy. Here we go. 313 Detroit love, the Motor City. Detroit love, ain't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love. That's the theme song of the show, Detroit Love, off my first album, JLE Experience. On music copyright, don't mean on Facebook. Go get it. I have a second album, JLE World. It'll bless your life. And we have amazing guests with a lot of great stuff she's doing. I'll introduce her properly. She is a former data collector, enumerator, substitute teacher, freelance writer at Write by Steph, owner of Malench Publishing L.L.C, and owner publisher at Collinsville Daily News, Stephanie Malench, if I said it right. Awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, and congratulations. You're the only person that has gotten my name right, hearing it just once. So thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that. The show's all about you, so we're going to get to the first question. What led you to this path?
I have always believed in keeping the public informed. Teaching, being an actual teacher didn't work out for me. I have my bachelor's in early childhood education and in psychology. I transitioned then into getting my master's in social work with hopes that since I didn't get along well with the kids, that I'd have a better relationship with their parents and be able to help them get the resources they needed to be successful. Mm-hmm. Parents didn't really care about me, so then I moved into geriatrics. Old people love just having someone to talk to them and to listen to them. So I love being a nursing home social worker. Unfortunately, the facilities I was in didn't have the best reputation. As a social worker in the state of Missouri, I was a mandated reporter anytime I saw or heard abuse. As the only employee that had the education to know what the laws were, anytime the state came in, even though I was an anonymous reporter, I was always ratted out and I was asked to either leave or be fired. And my pride would not let me be fired up until the last one time. So I was always let go, and I decided that was kind of when I started on my writing journey. I started doing writing for a nonprofit that worked with older adults as their volunteer executive director. I had a column in their newsletter. I also had a column in a local senior publication here in the St. Louis area. And I enjoyed that. So then I started writing for my hometown paper on environmental issues, which is my passion and my hobbies. And I was at an event one day, and an editor of a local newspaper asked me if I would be willing to write for him. My dad was passing away on hospice, and he always worried about me. So I asked him, I'm like, Dad, are you ready for me to get a full-time job? Because I was a substitute teacher, and the money was very poor. The hours were very all over the place. And he's like, yes. He's like, you need to start worrying about yourself. I'm going. So I got this job at a newspaper. Almost 2 months to the day after that, my father passed away. And this was in 2019, so I'm trying to get the house taken care of and keep my job. And COVID hit, and backtrack. My apartment got broken into on Christmas night. So the next day, I took off from work. My editor wasn't happy with me. I'm like, well, my apartment has to be cleared out, and so I moved back into the house I live in now that I inherited, that is the house I grew up in. Lived here, still live here. COVID hit, and I was considered an essential employee. I was the only person that could hold down the office. I got promoted to editor during COVID, but I still had to be the full-time reporter. So I literally did everything. I had two 40-hour-a-week positions. I laid out the paper. I delivered the paper. I sold ads. I ran the front desk. I did it all. 3 years ago, I decided to quit and put my 2 weeks in because I didn't feel like I was getting the money I deserved. I was tired of working 80 hours a week for McDonald's wages and not getting paid past 40 hours. So I did that, started Right by Steph. I knew I had the background and the client base to be semi-successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then in August of last year, 5 years to the day that I was interviewed for my first newspaper job, I purchased the Collinsville Daily News that I had been doing columns for and selling ads since I left the previous publication. And that's life. From now, I'm trying to balance two businesses, neither one of which pay pretty much. AI has taken a big hit on Right by Steph. People don't want to pay for anything. They've got Chat GPT. Newspaper, with the political climate, people aren't wanting to take out advertising or sponsorships. The political figures in my area, for the most part, support me, except for a handful. And that handful has pretty much tried to make my life miserable. And they're not going to succeed if they're watching this.
There you go. Wow. My condolences about your dad.
Thank you.
So with the Collins Daily News, what all type of articles do you put in there?
I cover city council, village board, library, school district, township. I get regular updates from our state senator and our state representative, from our U.S. representatives. I publish their information. I have a sports department that covers professional and local high school sports for me. I have a couple columnists that do some special interest things for me.
Okay. That's pretty dope.
Yep, I have roughly 40,000 unique hits a month on my website, so I get a little Google money in that way.
That's awesome. So I know I got my press pass, I think a year ago, and I'm working in my car good so I can be A to B, and I'm looking to start utilizing it to start going to Detroit sports. So whatever's going on.
That'll be good.
Now, do you feel a responsibility as being in the media to make sure whatever you put out is the truth? Because some people
Absolutely.
they get lax with what they talking about with their narratives.
Yep, my favorite thing in some meetings is direct quotes, because there are people there that will say, I didn't say that. And I'm like, yeah, you did, because you're on video or you're on tape. You put it out into the world and I took your quotes from there. So if you don't like what I said about you, you probably shouldn't be saying these things. One of my big things is just making sure everyone in the community is educated, that with the local elections we just had, that people could make educated decisions on who they voted for.
Okay.
Make sure people know when meetings are so they can show up. Another thing that's very successful about my paper is I have the whole paper. We have a large Hispanic population where I live, so I have redesigned the website to have all pages available in Spanish at the click of a button. I also have the paper available in audio since it's an online only paper. And so people that can't read, or if they need to keep up with what's going on while they're on a drive, they can just listen to the articles.
Okay.
And I have specials for nonprofits so that they can get their activities out for a cheap price, because a lot of nonprofits can't afford advertising. So anyone that wants to pay $15 for 10 days before an event can have an ad. And they usually just send me their existing flyer that they're taping up in stores or putting on social media. And that is their ad.
Okay. That's reasonable and pretty awesome. And you get a lot of hits, so that'll definitely help you. Now, given with the AI trend, what does Right by Steph do?
I do resumes, I do cover letters, I write blogs, I ghostwrite magazine articles for people in other areas.
Okay.
I edit college books, college papers, dissertations are my favorite. I edit books. I've ghostwritten a couple books. Not my favorite thing to do because I can't charge what I should in this area. And
Okay. Interesting. Now, why you like dissertation? Because that seems like that's a lot for people getting their doctors. A lot of information.
I edit them. It's fun. I like to brag that I have 7 PhDs because that's how many dissertations I have edited. And I feel like I learned just as much reading their dissertations and fact checking and making sure they have their links correct than if I went and paid the tens of thousands of dollars to go to school myself.
Yeah, you're right. that you about that life. I know a few people when I was working at Wayne that was doing it, and they would show me their work. I'm like, man, that sounds like 3 research papers you're doing. Oh yeah, you gotta be very thorough so you can defend it. I'm like, and you gotta defend it?
Yep. My first dissertation I edited, my client had a fear of writing, like people have a fear of speaking. And so it was a 70-page sentence. And the only way I knew where the sentences ended were because he did have his end notes in there. So I was going through trying to put the periods in. I'm like, do you realize that you don't have any punctuation? He's like, hang on. He's like, don't do anything else. So this was November of that year. By March, he sent it back to me properly written. And he's like, okay, I've taken this seriously now. I am ready for you to edit it. I edited it. We worked as a team. I helped him with his graphs and tables and trying to make things clearer. And since it was in education and I have a degree in education, I was able to ask him questions that I felt like needed to be included. And he was so happy with the editing I did that he invited me to his mock defense. And I got, he had some other friends from his class there, and I got 3 more clients out of that. So
nice. Now, have you thought about writing a book?
I have 3 books out. The first one is the ABCs of living independently when you are older or frail. I pretty much outlined that whole book laying in bed one night after I had been let go from another nursing home. I'm like, I can't stand to keep seeing these people suffer. There's got to be a different option. I started my own business for a while doing consulting where I would help older adults and their families find services that didn't have to be through the same provider. A lot of the hospitals in this area, they want you to use their therapy staff for everything, PT, OT, speech, everything. And so my goal was, if you have a physical therapist that you like from one agency, but you want an OT from somewhere else, I was going to connect and let them have multiple services. Problem was, in Missouri, you have to have a nurse on staff and work with kids to be able to bill Medicaid. So I wasn't getting paid again.
Okay.
Because it was just me. I was a solopreneur. I was working with older adults. I actually got kicked out of one client's house because after I had helped them figure out ways to cut costs and pay for their medicines, I asked for my very nominal fee, and they go, you just helped me save this money and now you're asking for money? Ask the state to pay you. Get out of my house.
Wow.
So that was the first book. My second book, like I said, environmentalism is a hobby for me. I wrote the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Clean Living, which is a combination of health and environmental issues. Here in America, our food, our cleaning products, our beauty products, they're all full of junk. So many chemicals, so many preservatives. They affect your body whether you realize it or not. So I wrote a little resource guide that helps people understand why certain things may be going on in their body and ways to detox. And then once they get their body detoxed, these are some different cleaning products you can make yourself or purchase, different beauty product routines, drinking lemon water, different things to keep your body detoxed. Then my third book I just launched in November is The Dangers of AI for creative writers and journalists. That is my digital only book. All the other books are available in print or digital. I'm working on audiobooks. The first two books are also available in Spanish.
Nice.
And the AI book is because people think AI is such a great thing. It is not. Besides the fact that your brain's going to rot away because you're telling ChatGPT what you want it to do for you. Nothing that you put into ChatGPT can be copyrighted. In addition, anything you put into ChatGPT is stored in the system for other people to use. So there are no original thoughts in ChatGPT. A newspaper around here, a offshore digital newspaper that is AI driven, scraped a local article and republished it. And some of the family members for a school district that it was about complained to the journalist that this isn't what we told you. Why did you do this? And she goes, I didn't. And she had to go to her HR and her editors and everyone else. And they finally figured out that this offshore paper took her work and they scraped it and they pretty much plagiarized everything and sent everything into the wrong order.
Wow. I mean, I remember growing up watching Terminator, like, y'all with the Skynet stuff, man. Okay. iRobot, like, call me a skeptic. I mean, it's good you want to have stuff to make life a little easier, but gotta be careful with that stuff.
Absolutely.
Gotta be careful.
And the deep fakes with videos and pictures is very scary.
Real they make, like, wow.
And you have to be real careful to even know the difference. And here in Illinois, thankfully it is, well, not thankfully, because it's only a crime to make a deep fake of someone if it is pornography. Any other deep fake you want to do of anyone, have them giving someone the finger, or that they're with some celebrity that they're not, or they're doing drugs or whatever. None of that is illegal here in Illinois, and you have no recourse.
Wow, you putting on some games, Stephanie. Appreciate that. That's our state starting to try to box in. So I remember Ice Cube had mentioned something about in an interview about AI, on how you might see him taking lyrics. Well, what if so-and-so said it like this? Like, now we're going into publishing and copyright. Like, hold on. Like, he got a good point.
And the environmental impact of AI is also huge, because to write just one email with ChatGPT takes a 16-ounce bottle of water to cool the systems, because their storage centers are so big and so hot with all these computer systems and everything. At first, I thought that was a joke. Had I not had a friend that built computers, gaming computers, which get hot, and I had seen inside these towers that had the cooling hoses and everything, I would have been like, wow, it's real.
Yeah. Wow. Whew. Make you say, wait a minute. Now, what did you learn as a substitute teacher that you used for your papers?
That's where I made a lot of my connections. For the articles I do special interest articles. The school district that I subbed in is also the school district that I cover. I used to live in Collinsville for many years and subbed there, so I already knew everyone there. This was a natural progression for me to buy this paper and to when I see a story, I can call one of my teachers or message them on Facebook,
Mhm.
like, hey, I saw this. Are you willing to be interviewed? Or if there's something that I want to cover and I don't know who to get a hold of, they always have someone for me.
Okay. That's awesome.
And it gave me time to read. I haven't been able to read a book relaxing since I was a substitute teacher and had study halls and prep periods. So.
Study hall. Wow. I remember them days. And sadly, I say for all the apologies because I'm pretty sure you dealt with some kids just want to be jerks for no reason. Oh, substitute teacher, we can go crazy. Yay.
Yep.
That's what they're supposed to do.
And then I also subbed in an alternative school at one point where it was kids that had been kicked out of their home schools. And I was subbing for one of my best friends one day, and one of the kids didn't like me, didn't know that we were friends, didn't know our history, reached behind him into the terrarium and took a handful of dirt and threw it at me. That terrarium had once been in my apartment with the classroom snake in it. Thank goodness I had layers on, because that most of the dirt went in the hood of my sweatshirt. That sweatshirt came off faster than you can say sweat.
Man. Wow. Kids being foolish and reckless. Did your experience as a data collector and enumerator impact you tackling a story?
Not too much. I'm not a math person. I really didn't enjoy that job too much. I thought I wanted that to be my full-time job. That's actually when I became a substitute teacher, because since it was a government job, the second one with the National Children's Study, it kept getting put off. And I'm like, well, I got to have something to do. It's like, yeah, Dad will pay my bills, but I'm going stir crazy sitting in a one-room apartment all day. Mm-hmm. So my neighbor across the hall got me into subbing, but I didn't like it. I had to carry this notebook around, and this past week has been really tough for me because a lot of the areas that I was an enumerator for both the U.S. Census and the National Children's Study were some of the hardest hit by the tornado in St. Louis last Friday. So those were streets I walked up and down all the time.
Yeah, I don't think I ever heard of St. Louis getting a tornado before.
It's been a while. Last big one hit in 1957. As a sports fan, you might have remember hearing about the Checker Dome. There used to be two giant pillars on the sides. It blew both of those off. I was actually in St. Louis last Friday when the tornado hit. I was 5 miles away. I was sitting in my cousin's dining room blowing off the beeps that kept coming on my phone, because the last time that particular neighborhood had been hit by a tornado was 1896. I'm like, I'm good. The tornado siren is in their backyard. I'm like, if it hits this part of the city, the siren will go off. 10 minutes later, my cousin's partner called me and said, you need to go home. I've had a change of plans. I'm staying at my house tonight. A tornado hit the Central West End, and it's headed towards Edwardsville, which is where I live. He's like, you need to get home. So very, very scary.
Yeah, I read an article reached for Michigan, and we would average 13, and it's only somewhat midway 25. We had 27. I'm like, what? 27? What the hell?
And people say global warming isn't real.
Man, they don't know. I don't like to see it. Like right now, I feel like winter. And then if it jumped to 80, I'm like, oh boy, here it comes.
Yep.
I remember Science Elementary, hot and cold don't mix. That's tornado weather.
Yep.
So I'd rather just gradually get warm, not it's cold, then it's 80, like, oh yeah, here it comes. Like clockwork.
Yep.
Well, we reached the point of the show. You the market, whatever you have going on, the floor is yours.
Wow. You're a good question writer. That is the bulk of everything. People that want to reach out to me, my email is writebysteph@gmail.com. My websites are writebysteph.com and collinsvilledailynews.com. Both of those are all lowercase letters with no underscores. Yeah. I have a YouTube channel that I'm working on trying to put more of my podcasts and different things on. I'm toying with doing some of my own content. I don't like the sound of my voice, so I'm not sure how many minutes I would be able to record myself to listen to something, but for people. But I've tried dabbling in TikTok, tried making a grammar quiz in there. TikTok didn't like it, even though I completely rewrote the quiz that was in Canva from a history quiz to a grammar quiz. They told me it was plagiarized.
Wow.
No, grammar and history are totally different subjects. You got to know grammar to be able to write about history, but they're totally different.
True. Now you said writebysteph.com, your website?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Bam. Got that up there for you.
Thank you.
No problem. Appreciate you. Anything else? What was yours?
That'll do it.
Okay. Next question. What has been your biggest challenge on your journey?
My biggest challenge. Getting people to take me seriously, believe it or not, in this world with fake news. Everything's fake news. If you don't agree with it, that's been my biggest challenge. I've been cyberbullied a lot the last few months with the newspaper. Trying to keep a thick skin and let people know, no, these are the facts, like I alluded earlier. Using quotes, if people don't like what they're saying, they need to just not say them. FOIA is your friend.
Anything you can do for the cyberbullying?
Nope, I've been doing my research, so.
Wow.
Unfortunately, until I am physically threatened, the police can't get involved. Because I am a journalist, and this particular public official actually wiretapped me 4 years ago. I had no recourse then.
Wow. Wiretap.
And again, because I was a journalist, the police were like, yeah, it's a gray area. We can't help you. Even though it was without my consent, it's a class 2 felony.
Yeah, wiretap, that's like some spy stuff. You ain't no threat to the country, because you're a journalist. Well, we can't touch it. Like, what the hell?
Yep.
Wow.
And he admitted to it. He's like, it's a good thing I still have my recorder going from the meeting, because I called him after a meeting that I cover.
Mm-hmm. That's shocking. Write that down. No charges.
I'm doing my best to keep my mental health stable. Trying to do a lot of self-care.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping prayer, because you got to keep them type of people in check. That's doing too much. Wiretap. And you ain't no threat to the republic, as they like to say, really? And they ain't locked up? Wow.
Yeah.
Thought the press got more respect than that.
The press has zero respect. And it's not just, I'm the only individual that is called out in my local media from politicians, but the comments that people make on any of the 5 newspapers in my area on their posts, people are like, oh, here's another liberal publication. They don't care about anyone else. Blah, 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 blah. Trump this, Trump that. And then I've had people on the far right want to buy my newspaper to silence me. That's not going to happen either.
Wow.
As much as I'd love the money, I don't trust those people. If I want to sell, I will sell to someone with some integrity.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely come off as real journalism, stuff you don't see like you used to see coming up when I was a kid.
State Senator Paul Simon actually started the first paper that I worked at. And everyone said I was going to be the next Paul Simon, because I did try running for mayor in my hometown 4 years ago. I lost, but I made the changes. I got the mayor that won to slow down some progress instead of overdeveloping our town. So I won in the sense that the platform for the next 4 to 8 years had been changed. And I was going to run again this year, but it was considered a conflict of interest owning a newspaper, even though here in small towns, being a mayor is a nonpartisan position. You don't run as a Republican or a Democrat, and even though I don't cover Edwardsville, Collinsville's 20 miles from here, it was still seen as a conflict. So I'm like, okay, I won't run this year. And I'm glad from a time standpoint that I didn't, because I did not have time to go out and get signatures, knock on doors, all of that. Oh, I was also dealing with death threats last fall because people don't know how to read anymore. And I published a letter to the editor that someone wrote about a business. And a lot of people didn't like it. And someone that I had up to that point considered a friend said that if lynchings were still allowed, I'd be dead.
Wow.
And then this same politician, stopped funding the paper. His board that he's over, he didn't even ask them. He's just like, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to do the award ourselves. So then I had to put even more money in to copyright the award that he was sponsoring, because the previous owner hadn't done that, and I was not letting him have this award.
Okay. Well, definitely shout out to you for running, because some people, I want to do this or do that, and they never do it. So
Yep.
The fact you did it, you want to step out there and see what happens. We need more people to do that instead of like, man, I want to be a painter. Like, well, start painting. Oh, no, man, I'm just talking. No, go do it. See what happens.
Yep. And like the other thing with politics, if voting is a big thing. That's why I took so much care these last 6 months to make sure candidate profiles got out. And I tried to do a forum where questions were asked of elected officials, because if you're not active, and only 15% of people vote in the local elections where I am, which is disgusting. And then everyone sure loves to complain on social media when a politician does something they don't like, or if a new policy is implemented that they don't agree with. Did you vote? Oh, no. I'm like, stop complaining then.
Yeah.
Or if one party takes control of a office because the other party didn't put anyone up. You didn't have anyone run. Why does it matter to you that things are changing?
Yeah, guys, you got to put skin in the game if you want to talk about it. In your words, what has been your impact in the community?
Just educating people, letting people know what's going on in the world around them. From council meetings to their kids' sports, their kids' teachers, with my books, letting people know how they can make their health better, warning people about dangerous things. One of my clients, I do environmental code work for, building codes, keeping people up to date on those. Just letting people know what's out there. I still consider myself a teacher. I teach adults.
Okay. Now, come to however made you comfortable. I need that Nietzsche philosophy type Yoda game. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
Don't be afraid to fail, and be willing to dabble. Don't pigeonhole yourself into doing one thing. Do multiple things at once. Do volunteer. That's the biggest thing you can do too, and that helps your community, and it gives you experience doing different things. That's actually part of how I got into writing. I didn't get paid for most of my early writings for the nonprofit that I was the volunteer executive director for till they found someone else. The newspaper that I had a column for. I did a lot of public speaking for the Alzheimer's Association out of grad school. I did journal research articles that got published, didn't get paid for those. Just do what you need to do to get a name for yourself.
Yeah, that's some great advice. So how did you enjoy being in the middle ground?
It's great. You're a wonderful host.
Appreciate that. I live by tagline where you felt like family, you was comfortable, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Now, you welcome back anytime. And like help whatever you got going on, let me know. I post about it. If you want to be a part of other shows, let me know. You can be a part of it. All about collaboration.
The world needs more of that.
Yeah, because definitely a lot of. I mean, I could understand if someone say, you know, I try not to drink every day. And I get they not trying to be drunk, but it's so much going on every day this year compared to any other year. Like, wow. This year is just like fastballs nonstop. More planes are falling out the sky, unfortunately. Like, I don't remember hearing about that like that.
And again, that's a lot of that social media too. We used to not know every single time something happened. Social media has brought us way too close to, sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. But there are some positives because you can help people that really need it. That has helped with social media. There's been some real injustice going on. People got out the word so justice could be done. So it is some positive, but it seems like everybody wants the drama. So they're going to keep reposting that.
Yep.
The fact you got a paper, which is, to me, awesome. You don't hear me. You control what's going on, and people are checking it out. That's pretty dope.
And I have plans for later this year to launch a digital paper in another community near me. So, and both papers will eventually have quarterly print magazines. So,
okay. Now you did touch on for a second. You have a podcast too?
No, I do not have a podcast.
Okay.
I have a YouTube channel that I take the raw footage from podcasts I've been on and put it on it.
Gotcha. Okay. That's not a bad idea. I'm trying to grow my channel more. Well, we want to thank former data collector, numerator, substitute teacher, author, freelance writer at Write by Steph, owner of Malench Publishing L.L.C, and owner publisher at Collinsville Daily News, Stephanie Malench, for sharing her journey. If you want to get into journalism, she live and prove you can do it. Ain't hard.
Nope.
You got to stand 10 toes down because when they come for you, you got to let them know you ain't the one.
Yep.
Media still matters. So I want to thank you for joining us, sharing your story. I'm in the show with singing it because I'm still working because I ain't got a laptop right now to instantly fix my stuff with intros, but they get a treat with the voice. So I hope y'all enjoy more of the weekend. Hydrate, be safe, drive responsible, all that good stuff. Sports show coming on after this at 9:30. Here we go, folks. That 313, Detroit raised me, Detroit sent me, can't nothing stop me. 313, Detroit love, the Motor City, Detroit love, can't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love. All right, everybody, appreciate you. Appreciate you, Franklin. Have a good weekend.